Con Gaby Cam y Javier Ibarreche.
¿Cómo están? Bienvenidos. ¿Qué tan bizarro es que estemos aquí todos sentados con Tim Burton aquí parado? I think this is bizarre, the place we're standing right now.
Well, thank you for coming to my new home, so I appreciate you all coming.
Es un placer, I'm going to do some Spanish now. Es un placer para mí estar aquí con todos ustedes. Gracias por venir, gracias a la prensa, gracias a todos los ganadores, gracias a la gente de los 40 que también está aquí. Estoy muy orgullosa de estar festejando un año de estreno de este programa que nos encanta hacer con Tim Burton. We are actually celebrating a year of our show right now, and you are pretty much our special guest.
Thank you for having me. It's
So
always
thank
nice to be back here in this beautiful setting. Thank you so much.
Básicamente, les voy a explicar rápidamente lo que está pasando aquí. Tenemos preguntas de la prensa, de los invitados, de los ganadores de los 40, algunas preguntas mías. Vamos a dividir esta masterclass en 3 grandes partes. Yo les iré explicando por dónde vamos en cada etapa del camino. Y pues nada, comencemos. Do you want to take a seat? Okay, I'll leave this here. So we have questions from...
Anybody need a pillow? There you go.
Good thing you're tall.
Okay.
I do need it, because otherwise I cannot reach the floor. So I'm going to explain to you what's going on here. We have people from the press, we have winners from our radio station, we have special guests, we have plenty of questions here. What I did for this masterclass is that I divided it in 3 big parts. One is your beginnings, because, I mean, we're here. I think you have a lot of stories to tell.
Beginning and the end all at once.
Yes,
There we go.
definitely. But before we do this, I would like to make a proper introduction for these people who's here. Creo que está de más decirles quién está con nosotros, pero está con nosotros un hombre que ha hecho de su estética una forma de vida, que a todos nosotros nos ha hecho sentir que está bien ser diferentes, que nos ha regalado historias que nos han hecho llorar, que nos han hecho reír, que nos han hecho cuestionarnos qué hay después de la vida, que ha escrito libros como The Melancholy Death of Oyster Boy and Other Stories, historias como El extraño mundo de Jack, ha dirigido películas como Batman, Beetlejuice, El joven, manos, tijera, Mars Attacks, Alicia en el país de las maravillas, y no podría terminar. Un aplauso para Tim Burton, por favor. Welcome, Tim. So I think to start this masterclass and talk about your first steps, we are here. And I know a place like this used to be your playground when you were a kid.
In Burbank, yes. I mean, I always found going to the cemetery is very peaceful, but very creative. It was a place that I used to go to think and sort of just think of ideas, and I don't know, it was both exciting and calming and spiritual, and so it had a very, very strong thing for my creative life.
I think it's safe to ask, did you go during the day or at night?
A bit of both, you know, but
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it was more exciting and kind of scary to go at night, but in the day was quite peaceful and nice. So, yeah, I mean, I would go both times.
I love that, and I actually want to ask you, when you started telling stories that maybe came from playing in this weird, unique background, who was your guinea pig? Like, what kind of stories did you used to shoot?
Well, no, I used to sort of create these scenarios, basically for little kids. Like one time I said that a spaceship had crashed in the park. So I put like debris in there, and I made weird footprints of alien footprints, and I tried to convince the kids. They had to be much younger, because my age, they wouldn't have believed it. But I got a few younger kids to believe that aliens actually landed in the park near the cemetery.
Did you ever get in touch with them after making all these films you've done?
No, I think it was best. I left town quite early on.
So we have questions from people who's here. La primera pregunta es de Paco Mel, 88, un ganador de los 40 que sé que está por aquí. And he wants to know, how have you built throughout your career an emotional architecture in which horror and tenderness collide?
Well, I grew up watching monster movies, and I always found, I'm sure if you watch old monster movies, all the people are scared of them, but they're usually the most emotional characters in the film. So I always related to that, because in Burbank, I don't know, because you like monster movies, they go, oh, you're strange or you're weird. And the fact is, I didn't feel that way. I felt very, emotional and like a normal human being. So I always related to the monsters because they usually were the most emotional creatures in the movies. The people were always much more like just, it's like the angry villagers in Frankenstein. They're just sort of nameless, faceless kind of creatures, while the monster is always something that's the most emotional and most misunderstood. So for me, it was very easy to relate to those characters.
Did you ever feel like one when growing up?
Of course. I mean, I think a lot of kids do. I mean, if you feel different or you feel like you don't fit into your world or your school or whatever, I think a lot of kids feel that way. So I do feel like it's something that I didn't feel unique that way. I just felt very strongly about it.
Well, let me tell you, you are unique. There is no one like Tim Burton in this world. I think they all agree. And that actually leads me to ask you, because you have such a specific view in everything you do you remember when was the first time you actually felt like you have found your voice as an artist?
No, I think I think as a child I loved drawing, and I think all kids like to draw. So for me, I just kept doing it, even though I wasn't very good at it. It was something that helped me to express myself. It helped me to kind of, because I wasn't very talkative. I wasn't very verbal. So good night, everybody.
I think it comes from there.
Okay, I got to pay my electrical bill. Okay. So yeah, I just found that drawing was very much just a part of helping me to sort of think of ideas and help get out of my body, and because I didn't speak very much. So I just kept doing that. And so for me, it was always kind of a therapeutic way to explore ideas.
And on that note, we have a question from Debbie Crespo, que sé que está aquí. No sé dónde estás, pero yeah, she's there. And she wants to know, your stories are filled with characters, misfits, that don't seem to fit into social standards, but they find beauty in being different or strange, and that connects with real people. Did you ever feel like maybe movies were the only way you could find to make people understand you?
Well, I mean, I like I said, I grew up watching those kind of movies, and for me, like I said, that's who I related to. Other people relate to different things, but for me, that's exactly how I felt. So, that's why I just watch all these kind of movies, because it didn't matter, because all of them were misunderstood. They were all, they looked weird. Nobody liked them. They were scared of them, whatever. And that's how I felt. I grew up in a very sort of suburban in America, very sort of kind of 50s suburbia, where if you veered a little bit off of the normal path, you were looked at upon as kind of a weird person, even though you weren't really.
And that actually leads me to the next question, because I feel like now when we hear there's a Tim Burton movie coming out, we know what to expect. We know, like, people just go to watch it because it's yours. But I'm guessing in this industry, which is a difficult industry, at first it must have been hard to make people believe in your vision.
Well, no, I mean, look, I've had movies that connected more than others, but I was very lucky in my first film that I ever did, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, that they I had never done a film. I'd done a couple of short films. I did Vincent and Frankenweenie, but I hadn't done a feature film. So I did have some support. I did have a few people in the studio system that saw something in me. So I felt very lucky and grateful, because when I was at Disney, I was, in the animation department. I wasn't very good at doing Disney animation. So I was very lucky to kind of move in a different direction and get the opportunity.
Did you at any point feel like you needed to change who you are? Like, did that ever cross your mind, or were you always?
No, I mean, it was too late by that point. It was like, no, I mean, the thing is, when you're a certain way, and like, again, I didn't speak very much, so I was very interior inside my own mind a lot of the time. So, I kind of realized early on that that's who I was. And I mean, actually started to make movies. It did help me because I had to learn how to speak to people. So, I did get some help by just having to do it and deal with so many different people.
Isn't it crazy to how many people you speak now? Like, do you get to terms to that? Like, do you understand and realize how far you've come?
Well, I do speak more. Yeah, I mean, you'd be hearing dead silence now many years ago. But so I do speak a little bit more. It's still kind of hard for me, but I feel very lucky and grateful, because when you can connect with some people, whatever, then they accept the fact that maybe you're not the best public speaker, and so I feel very grateful for that.
But I think you are. more than you think.
Well, I'm not going to run for politics or anything, so I'll keep
Don't
it
worry.
for this way.
We won't go there. Jerry Ravelo también tiene una pregunta. Creo que estás aquí. No sé dónde estás. Ok. Por allá. He wants to know, how would you describe the character creation process? Does it start from a specific concept or a key element, or do you develop them and write them as the story develops?
Well, that's a good question, because I mean, this show here, The Labyrinth, when they presented it to me, what I liked about it was it sort of shows the creative process, because usually things just start with a little drawing, and then it can either just stay a drawing, or sometimes it could become an animation, or sometimes it could become a live action character. So it's very, it usually starts with a drawing. It's like a seed, and sometimes it grows, sometimes it doesn't. But so that's that for me, this show sort of represents the creative process of like how something either grows or doesn't grow or turns into something else. So there's a lot of different sort of, you think you're going down this road and then it turns a little bit. So I felt that when this was presented to me that I got excited about it, because it does, for me, represent the way the creative process works for me.
And I think I'm speaking on behalf of everyone. I really want to understand how your mind works. Like, how does an idea come to your head? Do you...
Don't bother.
Like, when you have an idea, you write it down? Does it like...
No, my psychiatrist has been trying to figure that for years. So if
I'm not
he
gonna
can't do it, then you can't do it.
No,
Don't worry about
definitely
that. No, but that's the thing. It's like, oftentimes, like when I was drawing the Jack Skellington character, I didn't even know what it was. I just kept drawing it. And so oftentimes things can come from your subconscious, which is, I always find is more interesting. It's like, so I'll do a little drawing and I don't really know exactly what it means, but then it kind of becomes something more and more. And it was the same with Edward Scissorhands. I do kind of a character, and I didn't know what it meant until I kept drawing it, and I kept thinking in different forms of it, and then I realized what the psychological meaning for me was. So that's where I like the best ideas come from. When you're not intellectualizing it, it's coming from you. But they can come in all different forms.
I have to ask this. Are we okay with the rain? Are you okay with it?
Of course, I love. Yeah.
¿Ustedes están bien con la lluvia? ¿Aguantamos porque es Tim
You
Burton?
okay? You okay. Yeah, you guys can take it.
Gran público, ¿eh? Me encanta. So to kind of sum up everything we've been talking about your first steps and how you ended up being the person you are today, we have a question from a winner from Los 40, Pedro Trujillo, que no sé si estás aquí. Allá estás, muy bien. Do you have a creative ritual? Like, how do you face writer's block?
Well, that's good. I mean, like I said, just sort of what I was saying. I don't really think about it. I always keep a little sketchbook around me. I have like a visual sort of diary. So sometimes I'll just do an idea, a little thought, or see somebody that kind of, makes me laugh, or somebody walking a dog or whatever. I don't know. So I feel, I don't try to, but I don't have a specific thing. I don't sit down every morning at 8 o'clock, and write something or draw something. So, it comes very randomly, and I try not to overly pressurize myself, because I always find that if you let yourself sort of feel things, that's when they come.
And you were yesterday at Xochimilco, and then the day before at Tepoztlán, I think.
Yeah.
Did you get any ideas that we could expect?
I mean, it's very spiritual here. I love coming to Mexico City because it's so, I don't know, there's such a feeling of, like I said, I grew up in Los Angeles, where the sort of Day of the Dead and the sort of Mexican art and the characters and things had a major impact on me. I really felt like that the art and the sort of creativity is inspiring here, so that's why I love coming here.
It's kind of weird because Mexico inspires you, but I feel like at the same time you sort of inspire a lot of things here that you don't know about.
Well, I don't know, but I just, like I said, for me, I even when I was a child, I felt the culture, and I felt all the things that I really, really like, because like in America, death is a very sort of rigid kind of don't speak about it kind of dark sort of connotation, where here all the skeletons and the color and everything, and that to me was more how I felt about things.
Well, we have one last question here to sum up this topic. Your stories are obviously famous for giving shelter to people who do not feel like they fit in anything or in very little things. And I wanted to ask you, since you started working and since you became an artist, do you remember when was the first moment someone maybe came up to you and told you, "Thank you for helping me"?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't remember the first time, but I do remember because, I had that. When I did my first little short film, I did a little story and I sent it to Vincent Price, and just out of the blue, I didn't know, I was just a student, and he wrote me back, and it was so beautiful. He said he understood what the story was about, and he got it, and he then was very supportive and narrated. So, those moments where somebody sees you and helps you, or you can do that for somebody else, is a very beautiful experience.
And we thank you for that. I think I speak on behalf of everyone. When we're feeling down, when we feel like we don't fit in, when we're scared of doing things, we just go to your films and your stories.
Everybody can do something, each one of us has something inside that can be, your own thing,
But
true.
you are you. Just let
And
me
you're
tell you
you.
that.
Sounds like a self-help combination.
That's true.
You're
That is
you,
true. Should we hug
and
like
you're
a group
all
hug?
Beautiful.
And you guys are all beautiful. I love that. So let's move on to the next topic, which is your filmography and your filming techniques and your filming style. I know some of your first steps in cinema were as an animator and also as an art director. So how did that shape you into the director and storyteller you are today?
Well, having an animation background, I thought was actually quite good because, like when I went to Cal Arts in school, you had to do a piece of animation, but then you had to shoot it, you had to design it, edit it, film it. So it was kind of weirdly the full filmmaking package, even though it was animation. And with animation, composition is important. And so I felt, I never had like live action film training, but I felt the animation training was very strong in terms of just basic filmmaking techniques.
And you already talked about a little bit about your days at Disney, but we have a question here from Luis Velodi. ¿Estás aquí? No? Allá. Blue hair. Luis quiere saber, he wants to know, if you could give a Burton-style remake to a Disney movie. That's obviously not the ones you have already done.
No, I'm done, sorry.
Are you?
No,
Talk us through that experience.
the Magic Kingdom has kicked me out finally. Finally.
I'm not sure about that.
No, I've been hired and fired so many times by Disney. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Does it not surprise you anymore?
No, I know.
I know I'll be back.
No. It's like, no. But it's okay. I'm at peace with it. Don't worry.
I love that. And throughout your career, and now talking about this, besides your original stories, you also got to make one of our most beloved superhero films, which is obviously the Batman films. I wanted to ask you, what did making this film taught you about filmmaking and also the industry? Because I feel it's entirely different to make something like that.
Well, no, I mean, I felt it was interesting because Batman at the time didn't make any kind of movies. So I felt kind of special being the first time to make a movie, like a superhero movie in a certain kind of way with a little bit more darkness, a bit more psychology to it. And, so I felt when we were making it, felt new at the time, which it's always exciting, Now, I mean, there's so many superhero films that kind of follow a certain kind of similarity, even though they're all different. But it was exciting to be there at the time feeling like it was something new.
Would you put your hands into another superhero film nowadays?
I don't. There's so many of them. I mean, I think look, I think you can do any kind of thing. Superheroes are just another genre. I think you can be anything. But I don't see it at the moment.
I think I have to ask if we should keep going with this rain.
I'm all right.
¿Sí? ¿Seguimos
Yeah.
aquí? Do you want an umbrella?
It's refreshing.
Is it?
No, I'm all right. No.
I think we're gonna-
If they can sit it, if they can take it, I can take it. No, it's fine.
Yo estoy bien.
It's all right.
I'm all right. She's suggesting that
I
we
haven't had a
step into a.
No, I haven't had a
basically-
shower in a couple of days, so this is good for
Oh,
me.
okay, that's perfect for us then. Okay, so should we stay here? We do what you want to do. ¿Ustedes están bien? ¿Seguimos aquí? ¿Lo seguimos dando todo? Ok, perfecto. Me encanta. Muy bien. Me encanta. Mariana Alejandra García, ¿estás aquí? Ah, ok, muy bien. She wants to know what is the best memory you have actually with Michael Keaton, whether it was on the Batman set or any of the Beetlejuice.
Well, no, I mean, Michael was much more fun as Beetlejuice. The Batman costume, he was not, because Michael's like, he likes to move around, and so I think he felt kind of trapped in the Batman costume a little bit. But it was fun on Beetlejuice. I mean, I love working with him, but strangely, seeing him again in the latest Beetlejuice was just so strange because he really didn't seem to change much. This was like, 35 years ago, So it was quite a special movie to see, like, some of the cast, Winona and Michael back, and that was very emotional for me. So, and it was like we never stopped doing it, He just picked up the character again and made up things again like we did back in 1988, and so it was like really kind of a special moment this time.
I still find very funny that when he was in Mexico with you last time for Beetlejuice, he was like, my actual experience near death was that Tim Burton brought me back to life in this character.
Well, no, but it was kind of scary. I mean, he just came on the set. We didn't do a bunch of rehearsal. He came back on, he put and it was like he was like possessed by a demon. He truly was like possessed.
And talking about unexpected characters, what do you consider to be your riskiest project so far?
I don't know.
You don't mind?
I think they're all, they all can, I don't think there's anything you go, oh, this is going to be a hit, or this is going to be something. I think each one has a different vibe to it, and I'm always surprised whether it's a success or failure, because you never know.
So you're never expecting that, like when you tell a story, you tell it because you want to tell it.
Oh yeah, exactly. And
Okay.
so even if it's something that's based on something else, I find something in it that means something to me at that time. That's why people go, oh, do you ever regret a movie? I go like, no, because I did it for whatever reasons. And so, whether it's good or bad or whatever, I feel like, it was something about it meant something to me at the time. So
Of course.
that's the most important thing.
I think they're trying to tell me something. No sé qué está pasando. ¿Alguien me quería decir algo de un paraguas o algo así? Pues, okay. Tim, you're the best. If you don't need an umbrella, I don't need an umbrella. You are Tim Burton. No. no, pero no. Hay otro. Are you sure you don't want an umbrella? Are you do you realize that if you don't want an umbrella, I'm not allowed to want an umbrella? No. Me parece que yo no debería tener una tampoco. It's either both of us or none of us. Okay. Entonces sí quiero. I
Whatever. Okay.
totally agree with you.
All right.
Muy bien. Bueno. Excelsior. Do you realize this makes it even more dark? Like it looks darker. Everything is darker.
Good. I mean, I'm happy if you guys are all right.
It's as if we were like at a funeral somehow.
It is.
In a rainy day.
Thank you for all coming to my funeral. I
No!
really appreciate it.
Oh no, we don't want to do that anytime soon. We have a question from an outlet, Excelsior. They want to know, you're a filmmaker widely recognized for your distinctive style, and when watching certain movies, it's easy to tell they're yours. However, films like Big Eyes stand completely apart from what we've come to expect from you. What place does this film hold in your creative universe?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of an experiment to me, because I've done so many big studio movies. I just tried to do something, because I knew this artist, and the story was so weird to me as a real thing. I just decided to just do kind of a simple, low budget, non-studio film.
Okay, so before moving on to the exhibition, because that's why we're here for, I would like to ask you this, because I feel like everyone says, like, this is very Tim Burton style, but what do you understand like that? Like, when people refer to what you do?
I don't think about it. I truly don't, because
It's just you.
I always feel like, as a person, you don't want to overanalyze yourself and become like something, like, I'm doing this because this is what is or whatever. I think, for any artist, you're best to just do what you do and just whatever. People relate to it or they don't relate to it. So I always, especially in like Hollywood, I always try to resist that kind of categorization, because I didn't like it as a child when people go, oh, you're good at sports, or you're not good at, or you're good, you're talented, you're not talented. You know, I always, from a very early age, tried to resist those kind of sort of categorization of people, because everybody has their own individuality, everybody's different, and that to me is something that's important to me.
Definitely, and I think what sums it up is that you're authentic. That's all that matters. You are who you are. I think that's
Well,
it.
and everybody, you know, everybody is, and that's
Yeah.
the thing. So
So,
the more of that, the better.
I will move on to our third part of this masterclass because I feel people will die of the flu in here. No importa nada? Okay. So let's move on to the exhibition, which is what brought you here, Tim Burton's Labyrinth. Is that the name in English?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait. Perfect. So can you tell us a little bit about what we're going to find in this exhibition?
Well, I
Like,
mean,
how did
yeah.
you choose the pieces?
Well, as I was saying, the team that suggested this to me, what I liked about it is I've had art shows. I've had, you know, like MoMA. I had an amazing show at like MoMA in New York and all places, and just had one in London. But this one was different because it, like I said earlier, it sort of represent the creative process for me. You know, you kind of are sitting in a room, you make a drawing, it may turn into something else, and all these little rooms kind of are like the fragments of your mind. You know, they're kind of like, okay, this room, this just was a drawing, this turned into a character, this turned into an animation, this turned into a live action, this didn't turn into anything, you know. And, you know, oftentimes when I'd be sitting there drawing, I would think of things moving. And so, you know, we sort of added like little animations and things. So for me, it represents, in a strange kind of funhouse art show, funhouse kind of way, the process for me.
I'm actually curious about this. Do you have a background story for every character you draw, or some of them are just drawings?
Yeah, no, well, no, but they have little backstories. I mean, they're not necessarily huge backstories, but yeah, no, I like to, you know, they feel like your children, you know, they feel like your things, you know, so yeah, I always had a little private story for each thing.
Can I be a huge fan right now and ask about one of them? Do you have a backstory for Winona Ryder's character at the Killers video?
Well, I mean, I think a little bit of that thing was sort of based on a film called Mad Love with Peter Lorre. It's an old film, and it has this kind of themes of somebody who's obsessed with a person, a girl, and so it's got a bit of a stalker kind of, you know. But that was my inspiration for that movie. It's a movie called Mad Love.
Oh my God, I love it. And we have a question from Andreida, que sé que estás aquí, en algún lugar. Allá, okay. Have you ever created a character that even you found disturbing in any way?
Yeah, I mean, they're. Yeah, I mean. Yeah, let me think about that. I never really thought about it. That's a good question. That's one that I'll think about and remember at 3 o'clock this morning.
Oh my God, I have an answer for that.
You caught me off guard on that one. Although, but usually it's a normal character. I mean, I'll never. Yeah, okay, when I did Sweeney Todd, you know, and Johnny Depp is like this, you know, killer guy. But there's one segment where before he turns all weird, he's playing a normal person. And I started laughing so hard watching him play a normal person that I had to leave the set. I kept ruining every take because I couldn't stop laughing, him trying to act like a normal person. And so those are the most disturbing characters. Normal people.
Totally agree with you. Estamos llegando casi al final de esta masterclass. Yo sé que nos duele y nos pesa. Espero que la estén disfrutando. We're almost in the finish line for this masterclass.
Before the floods happen.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. But I think this is a very interesting question to start to give some closure to this talk. This is from Silvana López Ríos. No sé si estás aquí. And I think this question actually represents us all. Do you think the monsters we create on screen save us from the ones we carry inside?
Yeah, I think yes. I think it's really, these things are symbolic, you know, and they're kind of feelings. That's why I like old fables or fairy tales, because they touch in something that's symbolic inside, and I think when you see those or get them out of your system, it's cathartic, and it's important to it helps not keep things bottled up inside of you. You know, it helps you kind of exercise it and get it out of your system. So yeah, I think it's very important.
So Tim, before we leave, I have a surprise for you. I think you're like, I don't like surprise.
Scary, yeah.
No, it's a good surprise. I would never put you in a weird position. You know
Okay,
me.
Well, it's okay.
But
I like
feel
weird positions too.
Are we talking about the same thing? Well, what I want to say is, I think we all, everyone who's here, will agree with me that we're thankful for what you've created. I know you did it because you're just an amazing artist and you had so much to say.
Well,
But
it
just
means a
allow
lot
me.
to me. It means a lot.
Just allow me to say thank you, because I think we all, at certain points, either it is at a new job or just starting a new life or moving away from our parents or doing whatever, we just feel a little left out and a little misfits. And I just want to thank you for making us believe that being who we are is great. And on that note, we actually have a winner from Los 40 here, whose way of expressing, because she's part of the spectrum, her way of expressing herself is creating dolls. And we know you actually collect dolls. So she asked me to give you this. This guy has a story.
Oh my God.
He has a story, and I want to read it to you before giving it to you. Les voy a leer esta pequeña calaverita, está traducida al inglés. Ustedes se la pueden imaginar en español, pero es un momento muy hermoso. Ay, te estoy tirando todo. Okay, so he was a mariachi with a voice like a thread, with a dreamy hat and a suit of ages, but the wind, cruel and mocking, stole the roof of his song. The dogs who never heard his serenade saw him as a tree without branches, and so painted yellow, he marched throughout loveless squares. The well was his last stage, where he lost his shoes and his calm. Now his footsteps make no sound, but his cry is a moan. If you see him, don't run, don't talk. Stay still like bricks, because Juan Lagrimón, the name of this guy, the unlucky one, will sing to you to death.
That is beautiful. Who made this?
¿Dónde estás? ¿Estás por aquí? She made this for you.
Beautiful. It's so beautiful. Beautiful.
Quiero que sepan que ella, que va por el seudónimo Widow Garden,
Thank you so
todos
much.
ustedes que están escuchando esto, su forma de comunicarse es esta,
Thank you. That's beautiful.
haciendo dibujos, así que haciendo arte. Así que todos tenemos nuestra manera de comunicarnos y creo que Tim Burton nos ha regalado una muy hermosa, ¿no? Un aplausito. So yes,
Beautiful.
we left this to the very end of this masterclass because I think we all want to say thank you so much.
No, thank you for coming. I mean, honestly, thank you for coming to my new home, and you know,
Sending
visit
the
later on. But yeah.
No.
But thank you so much. It's been really beautiful. Thank you so
I
so
refuse.
much.
But
Thank you.
Tim, thank you so much for making us feel that
Thank
like
you.
being
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Weird Box is great. Muchas gracias a todos ustedes por aguantar la lluvia. Han sido maravillosos. Gracias por
Gracias,
esto.
muchas gracias.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
No,
Thank you
it's
so much.
always so amazing to see you, Tim.
Con Gaby Cam y Javier Ibarreche.